All right, everybody, what's going on? This is your man, John Brown, with another episode of Black Coffee. Today we got a special guest, special guest. Three-time Pro Bowler, Heisman Trophy winner, MVP, NFL, went to the Super Bowl. The biggest monster I've ever seen. The one and only Cam Newton. What's going on, my brother?
What's up with you? How are you?
Cam, let me tell you something. We saw you in 2010 when you was at Disney World or something like that for the Heisman.
Uh-huh.
And my kids were there because we did a Pop Warner Super Bowl thing. Man, you walked by and I thought, man, that's the biggest guy I've ever seen in my life. How tall are you?
Depending on if I got my cleats on, my shoes on, or I'm barefoot.
Shoes on.
Oh, about
6'6"?
6'5".
Nah, I thought you was more than that. And what were you weighing at your best?
Oh, 245, 255.
Yeah, man, it was unbelievable. It's unbelievable. But man, thank you for coming on, my brother. We just want to, talk about some things. And I heard, like Adam Schefter had said, you had been to the Panthers workout facility the other day. Are you coming back or what's going on?
That's a lot. But they report anything, and I need to clear that up because my dad said something about it, and a lot of people reached out to me in regards to it, and I'm like, I've been here in the studio in Atlanta trying to push out content as as they will call me, a YouTuber these days, a content creator.
Yeah.
And nobody from the Panthers have showed any type of interest. Nobody from the Miami Dolphins have showed any type of interest. Nobody from the Minnesota Vikings have showed any type of interest. And at this particular point, I'm just sitting back, drinking my black coffee. And, you know what I'm saying?
Interesting. Yeah. Now, I'm really my audience is. I'm trying to educate parents because what happens, in my opinion, a lot of kids, the leadership guys go talk to kids to motivate kids to stay in school and do the right thing. But what about the parent? It comes down to the parents. If the parents are not guiding them, very few kids can get through the needle's eye. So your dad, from a young age, when did he start you training with sports?
So it's crazy. I think first off, this is a much needed conversation because I think too many times for parents negotiate with their children as if they have a decision to be had, right? So I think for me, always having a hand in amateur sports where I've had 7-on-7 as an avenue for me to give back to the next generation of athletes. And I had them all. Bo Nix, Deshaun Watson, George Pickens, Travis Hunter, just to name a few. And I've always counseled the players as well as the parents in our initial meeting to say this and to say this only. Parents, we need parents to be parents. Not parents to be homeboys, not parents to be homegirls. We need parents to be parents. I grew up with a father who was extremely strict, right? Growing up in church, but also understanding that I knew right from wrong. I just didn't always do right. You know what I'm saying? That
Right.
Feel to me. So my father didn't have your background, Mr. John, in regard knowing about weights, but my father was an athlete. He went to Savannah State, got drafted as a free agent in Dallas, and that stint didn't last long, but he was an athlete in his own right.
Right.
I say that because he didn't necessarily have the mind to really know how to train. He just knew how to work hard.
Exactly.
And there's
okay.
You know, it really wasn't something that he just knew, like, okay, if we want tries, if we want buys, I'm not gonna sit up here and do bands. We didn't have bands. We had dips. Like you had to hang off. You had to hang off the edge of the seat and just do the dips.
Yes.
Right? I never really lifted weights in my household. I can't remember a time. Like my father was a contractor, so he was a landscaper. So I got my strength from picking up trees, picking up sod, plants, and
But
things like
that is resistance training.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
So even if you didn't necessarily knew that it was resistance training, building that threshold of strength, when it translated to football, I had great body control. You know what I'm saying? Like my core was extremely strong because in landscaping, you had to roll the lawn, right? And to roll the lawn, we had this old apparatus where it was like a roller, almost like something like you'll see from the Flintstones.
Oh,
but it was cement, or it would put the sod or keep the sod in place. So to do it, it was like a roller, but you had to put water into it.
Oh, like prowlers.
Right. It's almost like a sandbag or like a medicine ball, but you're adding sand to it to make it heavier. So it initially starts off as like 2 pounds, but it could get up to 20 pounds, right?
Right. Exactly.
So that was my job to do. Like when we would have like sod jobs or whatever like that, I would be responsible for rolling the lawn, and it could be tenuous, man. But I didn't know I was building my strength. So
when you say your dad was super strict, like give me an example of something he did that, man, this is how strict he was. Because there's too many parents out there trying to be friends. What did your dad do that stood out in your mind that was like you never forget, that was super strict? Like this type of stuff I'm talking about.
Well, so I remember vividly in high school, I had just scored 5 touchdowns. Right? And my father at the end of the game kind of gave me a look like, son, hey, all right now, 11 o'clock, you better be in that house. Right? And it was known that Cam's dad was strict. He was the mean dad. Like a lot of my homeboys, a lot of friends that knew of me and knew me in high school knew, we ain't gonna expect to see Cam at no party. I never really frolicked around like that. I just didn't know. Now, when I went to college, that was where I was like, yo, I could go to a party. Like my dad had no control over how and when I moved. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was some good in that, but also me being an adult now, it's also some things that he could have probably did differently.
Right. He did what he knew what was best. So now you said that would lead me to another question. What would you do different with your kids, or what did you do different? Because you said, well, like me, my dad was super strict on me too, right? And my dad never came to any of my games, didn't support me. And I said, man, when I have kids, I'm supporting every practice. I didn't miss a practice. What did you do? Or what do you remember your dad doing that you go, he could have done better there, and I'm going to change that with my kids?
It wasn't much. I think the thing that if I had to say something, I would be more open to having open conversations about anything. Like growing up in church, I think there's an unspoken word of judgment that every churchgoer kind of goes through, and me and my father never really talked about sex. Me and my father never talked about sex education. Me and my father never really talked about, just the temptation that you will have as a man being good at what you do. You know what I'm saying? And even though he was a man of God, I don't even think he was equipped to understand where his son, or what jungle his son was about to get himself into. You see what I'm saying? That's in essence something where, like me having children now, you know, and I have unbelievable relationships with all the mothers of my children. I have 3 baby mothers. And one of them was joking with me the other day, and she was like, "Well, boy, you a dog." You know what I'm saying? It's that unspoken. You know what I'm saying? We just tease with each other.
Right.
And I told her, I was like, I am who your son is gonna be. You see what I'm saying? Because nobody wants a soft guy. You know what I'm saying?
No.
Nobody wants a doormat. Everybody wants a good kid, but nobody wants a soft kid. Right? So my job is to teach balance with my children, and I'm a very hands-on dad.
Okay.
I don't care. I'm very, very hands-on. Hold on, give me 1 second. I'm very hands-on to the degree where it's like, for me, I need to always know what they're doing. And I also want them to know that I'm supportive of what they do. Right? So whether it's a basketball game, whether it's tennis camp, whether it's this place, whether it's that, whether it's
now, was your dad supportive? Your mom and dad supportive of all the athletic endeavors you participated in?
Extremely supportive.
Okay.
Extremely supportive. There wasn't a game that went by that was missed by my parents. You know what I'm saying? And the more, I'll say this though, and this has been open to, I've been open about this. I was fearful of my father in his house.
That's what I was too. Same thing in my house.
I was so afraid of him where a large part, it wasn't that I didn't think I could talk to him. It's just that my respect was so superior to, I didn't think he was normal. I didn't think he could have that conversation. Like, man,
same thing with me. I never had those conversations with my dad.
Like, man, I got a crush on this girl. Like, how am I supposed to? Like, I was so scared. Like, my dad had this dually truck that we would hear his truck pulling up, and I was a mama's boy. Still is a mama's boy, right? But it was the respect of my dad that I knew when I heard that truck, I would get out of his room and just go into my room. He didn't say nothing. He didn't say nothing in my room. It was one of them. It was that. You know what I'm saying?
Now, where's your dad from?
My father's from Atlanta.
See, my dad's from Atlanta.
Oh, yeah?
And it's weird you saying what you're saying because he had an old Monza. It's called a Monza Corvette or some old car. And when he pulled up, we could hear it. And we always scatter. If we're in the living room, we run to our rooms. As soon as he got home from work, we heard his car. We just run. It's so weird. Yeah, same thing. But, you know, my dad, I don't know about you, but where I grew up, there was a lot of gang activity. But I was so afraid of my dad, there's no way I'm going to join the gang. My dad would kick the crap out of me if I joined the gang. I was more afraid of my dad than the gangs. Was it the same thing for you to keep you straight?
Man, I tell you this. So my father never coached me, right? And that's why I feel that's where I came from. So I don't want to coach my son. He coached me from the dinner table, not the football field, right? And there was certain things that he had his own way of teaching or instilling in us. And one of those things was fear, right? Son, I'm not raising you to be no coward. He would always say, I've voices of like, son, I'm raising you to be a lion. I'm raising you to be a king, right? And when we were going through like youth football, my father, I remember.
Give me an age what's the earliest age you remember him saying that?
7.
See, that's what I'm talking about. Audience, listen to what this man's saying. 7 years old, his dad was instilling that in him. You must, and that's what he became. Go ahead, dog.
Oh, no, for sure. Like it was certain things that my dad would do, and fear was what he was trying to make exempt from my mind. It's not real. It's mind over matter, son. If you can get it through your mind that this kid that you're facing is normal just like you, but you prepare harder and you work harder than him, you're better than him.
Yeah.
In essence.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
So when we would do like Oklahoma drills or like the bullet drill or like the bull in the ring, all the kids was looking at me. It was like, yo, bro, I don't want to go against. They used to call me Newt. I don't want to go against. I don't want to go against Newt, right? But what they didn't know is I would rather hit them, because if I didn't hit them, I would look over and see my dad looking at me. And like, if you don't hit them, I'm gonna hit you. So which one you want to do? And it was one of those. So that's where, even with games, even with any type of crowd, it's like, bro, I can always stand on my own, because my father's my father instilled this superior kind of confidence in me that it just took me everywhere that I needed to kind of go in life.
Interesting. Now, I got to back up a little bit here, because you had mentioned you scored 5 touchdowns at one point, and everyone knew you had to be home at 11. Was it how old were you, and what league were you playing in? Was it a youth league? Was it high school?
No, that was high school.
So wait. So you're saying to me, you're in the game, 5 touchdowns, and everybody knew, man, we better hurry, because if this game keeps going on, Cam's gonna have to go home.
No, it was after the game. So the game, usually like high school games, if it starts at 7:30, it's probably over around about 10 o'clock. My dad gave me 45 minutes to an hour and 15 minutes to be home. Do what you got to do, son, but you're going to be home when I tell you you need to be home.
Oh, I got you.
So it was one of those situations, like after the game, you know how you meet with your family and everybody's celebrating and, hey, bro, what you about to do after this? My father made it explicitly clear. Bro, you ain't doing all that. Where you think you about to go?
Yeah.
I tell you, you supposed to be home, and it was those type of, parenting skills that allowed me to be who I was.
Now, I read something, if I'm not mistaken, about your mom was real strict with education with you.
Yeah,
academics.
My mom was very. She was a sweetheart, right? So she didn't know the difference between a kick and a punt. She didn't know the difference between the short yardage and the 2-point conversion when I first started playing. My mother's loyalty to understanding the common goal of what my father was instilling in me and my brothers, that she never got in the way. Yeah, it was tough. Yeah, it was hard. But that's the difference between somebody realizing like, yo, I want a very disciplined child, but I also have to be hard on him, because that's what society is going to be. Like, I'm going to distract you from any other things that you think you're going to want to do. I'm going to make it to where when you get home, you're going to be tired to do any other thing. So if you're trying to sneak out, if you're trying to go do, bro, you're not going to have that.
Basically, they're setting you up to where, look, here's what you're going to do, and you ain't got no choice.
For sure.
They took choice away. I think today, too many parents. I had a guy call me, and he said, my daughter's 5 years old, and she won't go to sleep, and she won't sleep without her light on in her room. I go, wait, who's in charge? I could never say that to my parents. Parents got to be parents, like you said. Don't try to be friends with the kids. You got to be parents and guide them.
See, this is the thing, and I've been following you guys' podcast for a long time. As a matter of fact, I reached out to and Ra on some, like, bro, I need to talk to your dad, bro. Like, your dad reminds me of my father in regards to like how stern you raised your children with so much intentions.
Yes.
That right there. A lot of parents, they want success, but they're not intentional with the success. How I'm raising my son, I know what I want. Listen, and this may fly over a lot of people's heads. And I had him a part of my program. I'm raising Travis Hunter all over again. So really? When my son says, hey, Dad, I want to play football, I'm saying Travis Hunter, and I seen Travis Hunter, and I coach Travis Hunter. So now I'm saying, oh, son, we got to do that. I'm about to raise your ball skills so high your football IQ so high, your uncanny ability to be around the football so high that I already seen it. I already seen what I want you to be. I'm about to be so intelligent, and that's how I train him every day. And I heard this from you, and I swear on everything I love, I'm not about to sit there and act like I didn't hear it from you first. You said after every practice, you heard a friend of yours say they catch 200 jugs, right? We wanted to catch 201 just so we would have, and that type of residual training will be the difference between having elite ball skills or him having open skills. So for me and my son, when he's at practice, he already I ask a simple question. Son, do you want to get better today? Yes, sir. So it ain't even no need. Everybody's walking to their cars and everybody's walking and taking their shoulder pads off. I asked a simple question. Do you want to get better today? He said, yes, sir. Okay, well, put your stuff back on while everybody's leaving. We're about to get some more. So for him, he's 8. He can't have the mental capacity to
Wait. Tell him again how old he is.
He's 8.
He just said he's 8 years old. You hear what this man is doing? He's instilling this in his son, 8 years old, and I guarantee it was before that. That's how it happens. You can't screw around. Sorry to interrupt you, but they got to understand that.
But understand this, though, too, Mr. Brown. My son is not a player on his team. Like when you think about Cam Newton's son, you think, oh, he gonna be the quarterback. Oh, he gonna be the running back, the starter. I don't coach my son like that because he's just 8. See, my thing is, if my son is dominant at 8 and is not dominant at 18, I failed as a father.
That's why I always say, if he doesn't bite as a puppy, he ain't gonna bite as a dog.
See, it don't matter right now to me in regards to his success, right? This is. I need you to understand the game. I need you to understand that you're not the best on your team. I need you to understand to be realistic to who's better than you, son. Okay, this person. I'm not going to say no names to protect them. This person's better than me, Dad. That's not you cowarding. That's you saying, okay, if he's better than me, I want to instill in you every single time he goes, you go.
Listen up, people.
Every single time he's in line to do something, that's how you measure yourself. If you gave him the respect and the understanding to say, this guy's better than me. Okay, how you get better? Going against better. You don't get better by going against worse.
Woo! That's what I've been trying to tell people, Cam. Look, I don't like kids being held back. Now, if their mom was lazy and didn't want to babysit them or take care of them, push them in kindergarten at 4 years old, that's different. They should graduate at 18. So if the kid's graduating at 17, then I would hold him back, put him in his right grade. But what I don't like about kids being held back is just what you said. What happens is this. If you hold them back, they play with weaker kids. How are they going to get better? They got to play with older kids to get better. And this is a Heisman Trophy winner talk to you folks. Y'all need to listen up what this man's saying.
It's so imperative that a lot of parents are distracted by not having a plan, right? They have it where it's like, yo, Latete just scored 3 touchdowns. How old is Latete? Latete's 12 years old. Okay, Mom, that's a great job by Latete. But if Latete is not scoring 3 touchdowns when he gets to high school, really, football only starts to matter when you're in the 10th grade. Let's just keep it above. It really only starts when you're in the 10th grade as far as your real recruitment.
Yes.
Because in 10th grade, you're going to the most important grade of your life in the 11th grade. That's going to give you the exposure to let you know, okay, these schools are starting to recruit me because of who I'm becoming and who I am now. For somebody to say that I got a scholarship offer when I was in the 7th grade, they're lying. If somebody were to say, hey, I got 62 scholarship offers, but you only can commit to 1, you're lying. Those scholarship offers are not committable.
They're not committable.
So you got Southern Cal, and you got Cal, and you got UCLA, and you got Hawaii, and you got Oregon, and you got Oregon State, and you got Arizona, and you got Arizona State. All those schools do not want you. They offer it, but they don't want you. If you're not here, they're not committable. You got the offer, but it's not committable.
Parents, you got to understand what this man is saying right here. You guys, these new era parents, these new age parents, they don't understand that concept. You know, they think, well, I got offered. That's it. I go, no, that doesn't mean it's just a verbal. That doesn't necessarily mean it's committable. You guys got to understand that,
bro. So that's where I think my father was a unbelievable example in my household of he was so intentional with raising me and my older brother, who's 3 years older than me, and my younger brother, he's 9 years younger than me. Those things that he implemented, and my dad, you know, we still tease about it now. It's like my son, I see how he looks at me, right? It's the same way that I looked at my dad. It was like, man, like out of respect, man, this nigga is God to me. You know what I'm saying? Like he's my everything. When I hear a noise at the door, my dad wasn't hesitant to go downstairs and see like, hey man, what's going on? You know what I'm saying? Like he had that about him. He made me feel safe. I trusted him. I entrusted him all the things that I wanted. Right. So for him, whatever he told me to do, I was gonna do. When I was young, my father would always say, hey, son, I need you to get big calf muscles. That works on your quickness, right? So what he would tell me to do, he wouldn't tell me to do calf raises. He would say, hey, I need you to always walk on your tiptoes. So I always walk on my tiptoes, and not everybody sees my calf muscles, and they're like, yo, bro, you got melons as calf muscles. It's like, bro, my dad told me to walk on my tiptoes.
All the guys that walk on their toes got big calves.
Come on, bro.
All of them.
I was doing that in the sixth grade, seventh grade, like just because my dad told me to do it. And I don't know, I don't think my dad knew how much I was willing to commit. You see what I'm saying? I didn't know anything different. It was do what I tell you to do because it's going to lead to success. Not knowing the real definition of success. Success to me was scoring a touchdown. Success to me was just being in the newspaper, the Saturday morning newspaper. Success to me was having a scholarship. Success to me was being able to say, I'm going somewhere after high school. Success to me was like, yo, like I'm SEC player of the week. You know, as these things started to roll out, my father had a plan when I was growing up in a household. Like, no, what you doing on Saturday? We're not about to do, no. We got this thing that they call, we got a workout regimen, but it's more of a running course that we just call, we label it the course, right? And no matter what we would do growing up, it was almost like a pledge of allegiance. Like you gotta run the course, and you judge yourself by how many times you stopped and also how fast you ran it. And it got to a point when I started running the course when I was around 10 years old. I could not stop until I was probably in the 8th or 9th grade, where my stamina had grew. I knew how to pace myself. I knew there was going to be some part of that running journey, right, in that 45 minutes to an hour and 15 minutes that I was going to feel weak. And with that, I started to tell myself, I know Zay ain't doing this. I know Deshaun not doing this. I know Ryan.
Wait. Hold on, dog. I got to stop you right there. You see what you're saying to me? Now, I don't know you, but I know of your story like everybody else. See, but today, every athlete, every parent, every NFL GM, this is the first time I got a glimpse into that mentality. Not what I see on TV, but they got to think about this. What your dad instilled in you and the way you approach things, the way you hate giving up, losing, no one knew that about you. Now they're listening going, man, we had to deal with this dog, this guy with that mentality, that skill set. That's what made you.
It was different. It was different.
Wow.
It was
Wow.
nurtured. It was nurtured, created, and executed by
Who
sisterhood.
discords? Did your dad create that thing?
My dad, my dad ran it in high school, but my dad was not. He was the first athlete in our family. So
Mm-hmm.
for him, all he did was hard work. So he was just a working class dude that was just, I'm gonna work harder than you.
Mm-hmm.
That only got him so far. He went to
Mm-hmm.
Savannah State. He graduated the year when Shannon Sharp came in,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So he was the big guy on campus
Mm-hmm.
that, going to HBCU, just getting on a team, not drafted, but just getting on a team was success. You know what
Okay.
I'm saying?
Okay.
So for him, he would instill certain things into me where when somebody described Cam, everybody was, man, he's just different.
So
You know what
how
I'm
tall was
saying?
your
And
mom and your dad?
my mom, she wasn't tall. And I'm the tallest in my family, to be honest with you.
How tall is your dad?
My dad's like 6'2".
Okay.
My mom 5'9", 5'10".
That's tall, 5'9". What are you talking about?
Maybe I'm stretching, about 5'8".
5'7" for a woman is tall.
Yes. Okay, well, she's definitely tall.
Yeah. Again, folks,
Exactly.
two elephants don't make a giraffe. You see,
Yeah.
daddy's tall, mama's tall. This is what you come out
Yeah.
with.
Yeah.
Wow. So now, like all my sons are in the NFL now, and
Mm-hmm.
what advice do you have, guys, like to give kids like him in terms of, let's start with females. There's a lot of athletes out there that just got to the league or in college, getting ready to make that transition, and that temptation with these women, man. What advice can you give
Yeah.
them? Because that's a mean cycle right there, man.
No, for sure, for sure. I'm gonna just keep it above, right? So I think my experience has taught me this. Everything gets better. The better you are, the better your experience and what you're exposed to.
Mm-hmm.
What do I mean by that? Okay, being a 5-star athlete in high school, it garnered me or gave me the opportunity to be able to go to visits to UGA, to go to visits to University of Florida, to go to visits to Auburn, to go to visits to Tennessee, to
Mm-hmm.
go to visits to, all these different
Mm-hmm.
schools. So I'm being exposed to,
Mm-hmm.
damn, she fine. Damn, golly,
Mm-hmm.
all these different things,
Mm-hmm.
partying or having access to these type of things. When you get there, it becomes stagnant until you realize, like, yo, if I go to the league, that
Mm.
the girl that I have on my wall is now the girl who I'm
Oh,
partying with now.
oh, oh.
You see what I'm
Mm.
saying?
Mm.
So when I say, I will say it again, everything gets better the better you are.
Mm-hmm.
So committing to the skill of football and being very cognizant of what you're doing indirectly that comes with who you are and what what you're becoming, they're going to come in many different ways than one. And in this day and age, you have so many different temptative uh uh things to throw. You got OnlyFans, you
Mm.
got book, you got Instagram, you have Twitter, you have so many different access. Like, if I wanted to reach out to anybody and you can name them, you can just shoot them a DM. Back when you
Mm.
were going to
Mm.
school,
Mm.
you would have had to be lucky to even see them.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
would have had to be lucky to even know somebody who knows them,
Exactly.
to put a word to say, hey man, Cynthia? Yeah, man, tell Cynthia, man, I would love to just take her out. And you had to be on time. Like when you said, hey, I'm gonna take you out on a date. Y'all didn't have cell phones. You said, like, meet me
You had
promptly
to
at
be there
7
at 8,
o'clock.
on time. Yeah.
So with that, I would say everything gets better the better that you are. And you have to understand this, like, for your children who are already in the NFL, you have to fight this battle in your mind. Is she with me because of who I am, or is she with me because of what I can do for her? It's not fair, but that's not to say that you can't find true love. That's not to say that you can't be happy. And I battle with it all the time because I have been scarred. I have been taken advantage of. I have had people say, man, I'm so loyal to you, bro. I'm so loyal. I'm doing this and I'm doing that. And loyalty is only tested when things aren't in your favor.
I wasn't a football player, but I wanted Mr. Universe. I had a lot of guys coming around my house. When I go out, I had an entourage. And I can imagine what that looks like in NFL. But I tell you one thing, I always knew, don't know where I learned it, but I knew once I stopped competing, these guys would disappear. So when they came to my house, I would make them wash dishes, wash my car. And they go, why are you making us do stuff? Because you're using me, so I'm going to use you. Wash my stuff, man. Help me out here, shit.
Man, I just had this conversation with a person who I love this, but we don't have the blood, but we've grown together over this. And I was having this conversation with him just to remind him, it's like, bro, your life is changing. You're so easy to love. You have a great job. You have stability. You come from structure and you know what you want. You got 4 qualities that every woman is looking for. So it's so easy for them to say, okay, I'll do that. Okay, I'll wash your dishes. Okay, I'll wash your dirty drawers. Okay, I'll take your stuff to the cleaners. Because if anything, you're funding that indirectly. So I'm making it so easy for you to make yourself accessible to me. And as athletes, as entertainers, as anybody who's in the public eye, you can lose sight of, hold on, is this person in love with me? Or is this person in love with what I can provide to them? And it's a lifestyle. And you will never know.
How do you tell the difference?
You will never know. You will never know. Now, the only time you will know is if circumstance hits. That's when you start seeing, okay, we're seeing a situation with one of our cultural icons, right? And I'm going to refrain from saying his name. He's getting slain into the media. He didn't necessarily know 3 years ago that he would be in this position. But a lot of people who were with him, reaping the benefit of what he provided. Was all, oh, bro, I do that, bro. Man, that's my job. But now when I need you,
bye-bye.
Where are you?
Bye-bye.
So that's the only thing. That's why I say you would never know until you actually are going through something and true intentions will come to rise. Because it's like, man, I can't be around you, bro. You hot right now, bro. But I'm still the same person that gave you $100,000. I'm still the same person that paid your debt. I'm still the same person that gave your mama blah, blah, blah. I'm still the same person that got your brother out of prison. I'm still that person.
But they jump ship on you.
Come on. So, like I'll say it again, loyalty is only tested when things aren't in your favor.
You'll find out who you're dealing with when you either get ill or lose your money. You'll find out who they are. Now what about investments, money and stuff like that? Is there anything that you bought that you go, man, I wish I wouldn't have bought that. That was stupid. I shouldn't have bought that shit.
Not really.
I could have saved that money.
Yeah.
Like, what advice would you give young boys, NFL right now, how to protect their monies, their income, how to take care of their future, how to protect it? Like, what things were you told, or what advice do you have? What did you do to extend your financial situation so after football you can sustain a certain lifestyle?
Okay, simple and something that's like easy to digest. I would say have an end game for every purchase. Right? So for you, some purchases, the end game is merely for my satisfaction for right now. Right? A coat, a car, a piece of jewelry, an outfit, a this or that. Like those things is just like, yo, I want it, so I'm going to get it. I can afford it, so I'm going to get it, right? those things don't hurt you. They just play to your ego.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I just signed a deal. Obviously, your son just signed a deal. So for somebody looking at him buying a Rolls Royce, a Ferrari,
Mm-hmm.
and a mansion, they go, oh man, he going broke. Not to realize, man, my sign-up bonus alone, I ain't even scratched the surface with that. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I can afford that. Now, when you're talking about investments, when you're talking about, certain things like big purchases,
Mm-hmm.
you have to have aims. Like, what's my end game here? I'm investing in this
Mm-hmm.
so I can I can get this on the back end.
Mm-hmm.
If that doesn't happen, you have to ask yourself this too: how much am I investing, and am I willing to lose that
Mm-hmm.
investment if
Mm-hmm.
things go up its creek?
Mm-hmm.
And if I do lose it, what position financially does it put me in?
Mm-hmm.
Now, no risk, no reward.
Mm-hmm.
And in the Army, they have this slogan that's so profound: fortune favors the brave.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't be afraid to make, decisions that may be risky at times, but you have to understand risk.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to understand what your end game is. Okay, if I'm buying a house, right? A lot of times, and I said this on my podcast, for people who are buying houses that are in their city's town,
Mm-hmm.
that may not be the best investment that you could possibly have, because you don't have long-term plans to being there.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's just like, okay, Amon Ra, you guys are based in California,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yes.
So if I was counseling Amon Ra, I would say, yo, bro, make your banger house in California.
Yes.
Don't have it to be in Detroit,
Right,
bro.
right.
Like, you can have a comfortable place, but not in Detroit, because when you're trying to get rid of that, it's only a 1% that can afford that.
Thank you.
You're talking about doctors, you're talking about lawyers, or even athletes, that's your house that they're going to inherit. That's not their house. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to put a basketball goal up there. This dude may not even play basketball. He may want to. You know what I'm saying? But when you have this type of investment, you can say to yourself, I can put a basketball goal in California because I can.
That's where you're going to dwell. Exactly.
Where I'm going.
Exactly.
So for me, when I got my money, I was like, yo, I don't want to invest in this crazy, ridiculous house in Charlotte. I'm going to invest in my crazy, ridiculous house in Atlanta.
Right.
Because I can always go back on the off season. I can always go back on a bye week and really and just appreciate what I've done to get to this point and keep adding on to it, so to speak. But when you leave Charlotte, and every story goes the same, sooner or later, you're not going to have the skills. Sooner or later, you're not going to have the opportunity to play for that team that you've poured your heart, your soul, and everything into. They're going to have to make a business decision and say, hey, we don't want you no more. So therefore, that house that you've been sitting on, that you probably spent a whopping $5+ million, $10+ million, heaven forbid, $2+ million. Not a lot of people in normal America can afford that without it being dispersed in a way that you're going to have to take a loss.
Now, in 2010, when we saw you, you were very conservatively dressed. When and what made you change your style of dressing?
It was always in me, but I think I fell victim to the normal evolution of players of college.
Interesting.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
interesting.
You got to understand this, Mr. Brown. Like, when I went into the league, nobody looked like me outside of Michael Vick, and we knew what he was going. Except for Donovan McNabb. McNabb was on the way out,
and they wanted you to have that clean cookie cut look.
I'm going to remind you, right, what the state of the black quarterback was in when I came into the league.
Preach.
Michael Vick, McNabb, Vince Young, Jamarcus Russell, and that was it. I mean, you had Charlie Batch considered a minority, but he was a backup. He wasn't a franchise quarterback, right? So these type of guys were the guys who had came before me. They were my heroes because of what they did on the field in some capacity, whether it was Jamarcus Russell at LSU, Vince Young at Texas, Vince Young at Titans, Michael Vick in Atlanta, Michael Vick in Philly, Donovan McNabb in Philly. These were the people who, this is what America saw black quarterbacks as, right? I look past all the issues, but I knew there was this unspoken word of you have to look the part, right? So now,
yes,
how they judged quarterbacks was how Peyton Manning looked, how Tom Brady looked, how Aaron Rodgers looked, how Drew Brees looked, how Philip Rivers looked, how Matt Castle.
I get it now. That conservative look, I remember it. They want you, especially if you're black, you had to be buttoned up, conservative, clean cut, all American look. But now you can express yourself the way you want to express yourself. Interesting. Is that correct?
It's definitely changed, and now it has allowed people like myself to look at the state of the league now, where now the Jared Goffs, the Matthew Staffords, the Kirk Cousins, the Aaron Rodgers. I don't even consider Aaron Rodgers, not having the ability to move the pocket at least. These are now the minority quarterbacks. You see what I'm saying? Like, you got Lamar Jackson, you got C.J. Stroud, you got Deshaun Watson, you have Bryce Young, you have Dak Prescott, you have Russell Wilson, Justin Fields, you have so many quarterbacks, Kyler Murray. You have all these quarterbacks now that are minority quarterbacks, Jalen Hurts, that are able to express themselves on the field and off the field.
With no problem, yes.
We don't see Lamar Jackson talk. Lamar Jackson's actions are greater than him talking. He doesn't need to talk, right? Jalen Hurts really doesn't talk. His actions in the community, philanthropy, all these different things, I don't need to express myself or explain myself. That may not be that. For me, I didn't, even really want to talk. It was just the market that I was in. I felt like I wanted to bring a sense of pride to Carolina. And it took me being vocal. It took me being it took me being fearless to the pundits talking about, how he's dressing. This is becoming a distraction. Cam is soaking. Cam is this, Cam is that. It's like, no, I want to bring pride to this stadium, to this city, to this state, to both states, to everything, because it should be a badge of honor to say, I'm a Carolina Panther fan. And I played like that, and I acted like that in my everyday life.
Are you still working out?
Yes, sir.
So if the Carolina Panthers thought, man, we should bring Cam Newton in, are you in shape? Are you ready?
Come on, man.
Okay. Did you run the course? When's the last time you got to run that course, baby?
Nah, I ain't ready for that yet. I ain't gonna even cut. But I'll tell you, I wouldn't stop. My pride wouldn't allow me to stop, but I won't finish it. The fastest time I've ever ran that course was 38 minutes. I will kill myself if I try to run it in 38 minutes right now. I will probably average it out around about 56 minutes or about 56.
But you still, the important thing is you're in shape, you keep working out, you got your hand on the trigger. You got your finger on the trigger.
But this is the thing, and I've said it numerous times. It's not even that I even want to go back to the
right.
It's the understanding of knowing, what do you say to your franchise if you bring a Cam Newton into the locker room?
What do you mean by that?
Like, okay, if I were to go to Detroit, the solidified starter is who?
Jared. Go.
Right? If you bring Cam Newton into that locker room, instantly Jared Goff feels threatened.
Of course.
it's not.
But
Listen,
it's a little
I'm
different at
not
the
talking.
Carolina with the current
Yes,
climate.
but understand this though. I'm a guy's guy. My gift, in essence, is a curse to some. It don't take me long to impose my will. When I walk into a room, you know that somebody who is that? Who the
Well,
fuck
guess
does he
what?
think?
For
That's
everybody, I didn't know this. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but now I know because of what you told me. The way your dad got your mental right. Your mental is so strong that when you come in, yeah, and if they don't know, they know now what's inside of you.
they don't know. So now, what do you say to? And when you're trying to be harmonic in a NFL locker
Mm,
room, right, where
mm,
you don't want no internal issues, right? I seen it happen. They couldn't keep me in New England because of what that would do to a young Mac Jones.
mm.
Like I knew
Interesting.
what my presence I knew what my presence would do,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's not that I was trying,
Mm-hmm.
that was just who I was.
Mm-hmm.
What does my presence
That
do
energy.
for a Sam? You dig what I'm saying? It's like, yo, it's not that I'm trying to
No.
not play the role. It's that he sees and he knows who I am.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to back down. I'm not going to
Mm.
cower. And I'm not going to sit up here and tell him like, yo, bro, I'm not trying to push you. It's my job to push you. It's your job to push me.
Mm-hmm.
So let's get better.
Mm.
Some lean into it, some lean away from it, and it's like, nah, this shit too much for me, bro. Like, nah, I'm good.
I'm so
And
glad. I'm so glad we got a chance to talk because out of everything you said, what resonated with me the most is your mentality that I didn't know you had that never quit, that dog inside of you. Not, you can say a guy is a dog, but you got something that's been instilled in you from a young age that's a part of you. It's not an act. You have no control over it. It is a part of your being. Your being. It's just hard of you. You can't deny it.
for sure.
So that's
And
what's amazing in this conversation to me.
yeah, it's I think my relationship with my father now is more of a friendship
Mm-hmm.
more than anything. And I would say financially, I was the leader of my family at the age of 21
Mm-hmm.
because of financial reasons. I don't feel like I've became the leader of my family all
Mm-hmm.
encompassing until about 32, right? And it was some things that I needed to learn. It was certain things that I needed to understand about. There's people who live vicariously through me,
Mm-hmm.
and the decisions that I make is heavily impacted on how they feel, right? And being a leader, that's something that you don't just walk around and tell everybody, I'm the leader. It's more of an action.
Mm-hmm.
It's more security that you give the people who are looking for you to lead, that give them that's unspoken. And I had to learn that from my father to be able to see how stoic he was, to see how intentional and how strategic he was in regards to the moves that he made. It wasn't on a scale of Cam Newton,
Mm-hmm.
but it was still things I would look from afar to see, oh, he handled this in a way that I want to learn
Mm-hmm.
from.
Mm-hmm.
And there was whether businessmen, billionaires, millionaires, multimillionaires, or just people who are just respected that I learned from too,
Mm-hmm.
to understand that, okay, me going back into the NFL will impact a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people. And people don't understand that part.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I have 8 children. I have been very open in saying that I have to consider what state of mind does it put my children in.
Interesting.
Financially, Financially, for me, I am in a great state.
Mm-hmm.
I'm comfortable,
Mm-hmm.
right? I don't need the NFL no more.
Mm-hmm.
If I want to go back into the NFL, it will be for one or two reasons. It will either be for a money grab,
Mm-hmm.
or it will be I genuinely want to play football.
Mm-hmm.
And I can say that I genuinely want to play football, right? I don't need football. I will always love
Mm-hmm.
football. You dig? So
Mm-hmm.
for me, I have to consider my child or my children looking forward to me taking them to
Mm-hmm.
school. those walk-ups to the front door and those little messages
Man,
that I
man, you're
I
bringing memories
bypass
back now. I remember those days, and yeah,
man,
you're right, Cam. I have to agree with you.
I bypass all that by not being here.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And I have to ask myself,
Wow.
is that more priceless for me to lose that
So
rather than
let
to
me say it like this to my audience. And if I'm wrong, correct me, please. I believe what Cam Newton is saying. Like I said, when I had kids, my life belonged to my kids. It was no longer my life. I don't love my kids. I'm in love with my kids. So my life, once I had kids, belonged to them. And whatever was best for them, I'm going to do. Is that what you're saying?
correct, correct.
Yes.
And even times where I may be at the studio or I may be getting content or I may be out of town. When I miss certain things, it impacts me heavily.
Mm, I know what you mean.
And that's what the media, that's what people don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, how dare you tell me I'm creating something when I know how to parent?
Mm-hmm.
Because I had a positive role model in my household
Mm-hmm.
that was patient with me,
Mm-hmm.
that was stern with me, that also didn't negotiate with me and told me, son, oh, you going to practice. Ain't nothing wrong with you. Matter of fact, you gonna stop at matter of fact, I ain't gonna keep doing blase blah to you. We gonna run this course. Or I'm gonna put you through some physical restraints that you may feel like it's unfair. But if you make this mistake at 18, son, and you go to a corner store and then you punch somebody in their jaw and you break their jaw and they press charges, that judicial system ain't gonna negotiate with you.
Mm-hmm.
So why would I negotiate with you in my
Mm.
household knowing that I'm handicapping you in your next
Yes.
phase of manhood?
Man, I'm so glad I ain't the only one saying this stuff. People, and I'm
Oh
glad you gave
no.
your father. I hope your dad listens to this because as fathers, and you're a father. It's a beautiful thing to hear your kids give you your flowers before you die.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? To hear what your kids think of you. So I hope he really get a chance to listen to this. Okay, I have one
Oh
more
yeah.
question here. Uh,
Come on with it.
if you could do it all over again, would you do exactly what you've done, or would you change anything?
Yes. I put like I put it like this, Mr. Brown, and you could call it being cocky. I call it just being honest. Everything from the game of football that I've ever wanted, I've gotten.
Mm-hmm.
So I would do it all over again, the same
Same
way.
way.
You dig what I'm
Hey,
saying? It's like
yes, sir.
everything that I've ever wanted from the game outside of one award, outside of one team award that I wanted, I didn't get.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have your checkbox, if I'm looking at everything that I slated at the age of 10, where it's like, I want to do this,
Mm-hmm.
I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this. I've checked the box, I've checked the box, I've checked the box, I've checked the box, and this little one box that if we was using this as a test, I'm still 90%, 95%.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
everything was is, something that I learned from. And that's in essence, my story and my journey. Like I've been lucky to tell people and to be honest with myself, I really use the game of football. And I've been good at football for a long time, dating back to rec ball, to high school, to college, to junior college, to the NFL. It didn't matter. I was really good at football. And had I not had the supporting cast that I did have in my parents
Mm-hmm.
and my mom, my dad, with my grandmother, I don't think I would have had the mental wherewithal to just keep fighting,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I think now I see the state of the athlete as something that is a little concerning,
Mm.
being that they have abilities to jump ship when it's not convenient for them no
Yes.
more.
Yes. I'm worried about that also.
So it's like part of me is like, yo, bro, you got to do what's best for you. But I'm also saying, yo, bro, what's best for you is that you've been in a very convenient situation as long as you, okay, I'll put it like this. You take a kid who I know, you take a kid who in rec ball, he wasn't playing, what he do? He goes to another recreational team just to make it convenient for him to play. Okay, cool. He goes to high school. He's not playing. What does he do? Goes to another convenient situation that benefits him, right? And conveniently, he just goes to convenience. He goes to college and boop, it's not working out. All right, I'm going to go to a more convenient situation. And what are we creating here? A revolving door, right? Now you go to the NFL. Hopefully or luckily, you go into the real world. Oh, man, I don't like this job. Oh, man, these motherfuckers ain't.
They're all against me.
Then what you going to try to do? Go into another convenient. Nope, that ain't how real life works.
See, I told my sons and his coaches. My sons were in high school, and we went to this one school, and my sons were 5 stars. I go, Coach, right in front of my sons, they were sitting in the chair. I go, I don't give a shit about their 5 stars, their first name, last name, on any of that. You put them on junior varsity. Do not put them on varsity. If you put them on varsity, you're hurting them. Because somewhere in life, they got to learn to fight. So if you think, oh, they're 5 stars, they're this and they're that. No, don't do that to my kids. You're hurting them. Put them at the bottom. All I ask is if they deserve it, give it to them. If they earn it. So that is what you're saying. These kids are not earning anything. They're just trying to find a situation that's tailor-made for them. And you got to learn to fight. You got to learn to fight.
You got to learn to fight. So to that point, going back to my son, right? And my sons that's playing rec ball now. I told the coach early. I said, Coach, I know how I father my children. No soft shit. Yeah. You coach my son like you coach Lil Tay and Lil Pookie them, if not greater. If they not giving you what you want them to give you, do what you got to do, bro. You're not gonna have me intervene with how you coach.
Thank you.
You have my blessing to coach them however you need to, because I want them to understand that seniority or some type of doctrine has to come by other voices other than your father. So for me, get the best out my son, and however you deem needs to come out of my son, you have to bring it out of him. You're not going to have no contentious feelings for me, because I know when I look at one of my sons now, I said, son, you're too comfortable with being on the sideline. That's not your coach's fault. That's my fault, because I haven't instilled in you the desire to say, I have
Wait, hold on, though. I'm sorry I got to stop you, because I got to interrupt you, because I'm trying to make sure the audience understand what you're saying. You hear what he said? Cam Newton just took the blame. He said it's his fault. That's why I'm telling you, kids, it's hard for kids. Some kids can make it without their parents, but very few. Most of the kids need their parents. So if your kid's not doing something, it's the parents' fault. Cam Newton just said, blame it on me. Because if my kid ain't doing something, I didn't instill something in him. Parents, it's your fault if your kids don't do something. It's not the kid's fault. If he's not dribbling, you're supposed to dribble today. He plays basketball. He didn't put his dribbles in. He didn't get his shots up. That's your fault. When my kids were catching the juggle machine, I stood there and counted 202 catches every time. Don't catch without me, because I want to count all of them. I'm going to make sure it's being done right.
Real talk.
Shit.
Real talk. And if when I don't do the jugs, I have the arm, so I throw it to my son, right? And I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4. Focus, son. Focus. Because now when he started getting to 82, boom, 85, boom, 88, boom, 91, he could get real lax. And the thing that I've learned over my journey, I'll never forget, William Belichick, a.k.a. Bill Belichick, was a master of fundamentals. a master. And I sit up here and I studied him and I looked at him. He was like, bro, all our practices was solely focused on the fundamentals of the game. And when I coach and I teach my children, it's all about the fundamentals. Sons, turn your hand over. I can keep your head straight. If your head is moving back and your head is getting out the way of your hand, that's the first sign of you not being confident in your hands. Because when you start seeing the Jamar Chases or the Amon Ra's or the Julio Jones or the Odells, their head, I mean, the ball is damn near touching their doggone
like
nose,
a Nike burger.
and they have, man, boom, they catching it, and they're not moving because they already know my confidence is in my hands, that I know it's not going to hit my face. So when I see kids and they move their head and they move and they're not looking at it, if you ask my sons right now, Chosen and Should, I say, how do we catch the ball? It's two elements of catching the ball. They're going to say, with our eyes and with our hands. I said, okay, tell me. It's about teaching. It's about understanding what they have to understand what they're doing. And in any type of leadership, whether it's a coach, whether it's a preacher, whether it's a teacher, whether it's a counselor, the number one element is still teaching. You have to teach them what they're doing. If they don't know what they're doing, if he keeps missing the tackle, and I keep telling you, son, you keep missing the tackle, he don't know what an arm tackle is.
You gotta show him.
You see, you gotta show him. You gotta teach him, like, son, when you get into this position, right? When you get into the open field, you have to break down. You have to use your pads, use your face mask, right? That's the helmet.
Now, it sounds simple. It sounds simple what you're saying, but you'll be amazed. And we played Pop Warner, and I'm a bodybuilder, so I didn't know a whole lot. I know basic things about football. And there were young kids, like 8, 9, 7, 8 years old, and the coach was yelling at the kid because some of the kids on the line didn't know what the hole, 1 hole, 2 hole, 3 hole, 4 hole. I told you, you got to block. He's running through the hole, the 1 hole. And he's yelling at the coach. Why are you yelling at these kids? I'm not sure if they know what the 1 or 2 hole is. They know. I go, how about this? Let's line them up and tell each kid to show us where the 1, 2, 3, and we'll find out. You have to, and when we did, he didn't want to do it. He was fighting against me. I was like, man, well, how are you going to teach him? So I took some kids to the side and asked them, well, show me the 1 hole. They didn't know what the 1 hole was. It's not their fault. Again, like you're saying, coaches got to teach. You got to show them. You just can't tell him, block, open the 1 hole. He doesn't even know what the damn 1 hole is. God.
But I would tell you this in regards to any element, even with parenting. Don't assume, because obviously you know what happens when you assume. But I will use this algorithm. Use the KISS, right? KISS. Keep it super simple and extremely direct in your ask. Son, I'm asking you to catch the football with your hands, not your chest. Keep it off your body. Why, Daddy? Okay, if you ever get into a situation, let's keep it simple. If you miss the ball with your hands, there is a opportunity for you to catch it on your body if that situation happens. Your body is your safety valve, right? And catching. So for while you're running, you want to catch it with your hands first. If it goes through your hands, you could potentially catch it with your body. But if you lead with your body, you can't go back to your hands. You see what I'm saying? So even when you're talking about certain things, about just different elements of Pop, man, why I gotta come in early, man? Why I gotta have a curfew? Son, I'm gonna keep it simple for you. Ain't nothing positive, ain't nothing good can happen after midnight. Only thing that's gonna happen is you entering between somebody's knees, and that's the only thing that can happen. But other things that can go wrong, you can get robbed. You can do this. Happen to you. This, that. It's lopsided. So I'm trying to protect you, son. So when you can make your own decisions, then you already are instilled with the things that I've taught you. The Bible says it clear. Raise up a child in the way it would go. When he gets old, he would not depart from it. So these things that my father instilled in me is the same things that I still abide by to this day. And I'm not going to be no hypocrite and say I still implement all these type of things. Like I said, I know right from wrong. I don't always do right, but I at least know.
Yeah, exactly.
You see what I'm saying? So these things, a lot of parents and especially coaches or anybody in a position of leadership must know. You have to be direct in your ask. And you also got to keep it simple. When you keep it simple, it's simple. Like, boom, I've even gotten to the point, I learned this from one of my coaches in college. I put numbers at the edge of the ball.
We did that, yeah. You go 5, 4, 3, yeah.
Boom, so when you're catching it, 2. Boom, when you catch 3.
Yeah.
But you're lying, because if I get that ball back and I see a 4, and you talking about, you bullshit.
Yeah.
You see, but it indirectly is teaching him to track the ball. When I say track the ball, son, what do I mean by that? He's going to tell you I have to track the ball from the quarterback's hand to my hand.
Exactly. Well, you're teaching him right.
And no matter where it is on the field, I'm going to find that ball, and no matter where it is, I'm going to track it back to my hands.
Track it
from hand to hand.
Man, I hope one day I have an opportunity to meet your kids. If you guys ever doing these 7-on-7s out this way, let me know. I'd love to meet those guys.
Man, bro, we loaded, man.
I would love to meet them guys, man. You guys were in Vegas doing some tournaments, weren't you?
Yeah, we were in Vegas. We're actually doing our schedule right now for the coming year, 2025. And, man, we could definitely collab. But I'll tell you this, Mr. Brown, bro. I seen you first on social media on you guys' platform. And the content that you guys were creating resonated so much to me that I felt obligated to reach out. And I was saying to myself, like, bro, this guy, he got something. Bro, why wouldn't everybody go to this person as a source for help? Because if all you know is the bakery, all you know is Danishes, all you know is pastries, and then you're trying to get into a realm of steak, or you're getting into a realm of different foods, why not go to a person who's already done that?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
You see what I'm saying? So for me, my question for you is this. When you were in, let's say, bodybuilding, having your children, what was the caveat to draw you to football rather than basketball, rather than weightlifting, rather than wrestling? What was it that made you identify football?
I'm a bodybuilder. I won the Mr. Universe twice, Mr. World 3 times. My dad and mom was in my household, but they never gave me advice on terms of training, what sport I should go into, nothing. But he was a very strict father, but he never helped me with athletics. I was lucky to just be a guy who just could squeeze through the needle's eye on my own. So at the end of the day, I started out running track when I was like 10 years old. I wanted to go to the Olympics because I wanted to get out of the inner city, out of Compton. I heard somewhere that the guys who ran track didn't get paid. They only got gold medals. I go, well, shit, I don't need a gold medal. So I said, I'm not doing that. So I stopped. That was in junior high school. I started playing football because I heard football players made money. I always wanted to be something. I never wanted to be just an average guy. And so I started playing football. Long story short, I found out that my coach could not help me get to the NFL. I thought, wow, it's not good. So I started bodybuilding, right? Now, one thing I learned, I was a 5-time world champion. I made a little money, but not as much as if I played baseball, basketball, football. I was 6'2", 200, and my heaviest was like 250, right? But I could run, I could jump. I went to Cal State Fullerton, and they had a football team, and I was a bodybuilder. I'm talking smack going, I don't care who's on this football team. I can outrun everybody on this team. So they got mad at me, and they go, that's it. John Brown's talking smack. Go get Eugene Moore from Fresno. We go to the track. Everybody's on the track. At least like 40, 50 people want to watch this foot race. I beat his guy in 100 meters. Then the coaches wanted me to play football, and I thought, I'm bodybuilding. But what I learned was this, Cam. Had my parents guided me into football, I'd have went to football or baseball. But when I had kids, I said, you're not going to do bodybuilding. You're not going to do swimming, some stupid stuff, some stupid soccer. What if you become a champion? What are you going to get? A gold medal? No, that's not happening. That's bad parenting as far as I'm concerned. So you're going to do what I tell you. You have no choices. Like you said, I didn't negotiate with them. Here's what you're going to do. You're going to play football because I'm 6'2", your mom is 5'8", so you're going to be pretty good sized kids. So you're not going to be I don't know a lot about basketball, but I can get you to the NFL and football. It can't be that difficult. It's just hard work. So I chose football because I knew if they made it to the end, there's a reward, a handsome reward from them at the end of the day. I would never waste time. Look at the WNBA. How many girls play in the WNBA if their parents put a tennis racket in their hands and pushed them towards tennis? They could have been world champions and could have made millions of dollars, hundreds of millions. But it's called parenting. Look, I hate when they say, you know what, he doesn't like, I'm going to find out what he likes, what he loves, what she loves. No, he or she will love what I tell him to love. We're not going to do anything stupid. That's called bad parenting. So get your butt over here. We're doing this. That's it.
A lot of what you just said in those last 2 minutes, some parents may see this as contentious and bad parenting on your part. But to second that, right? Every person who we have identified as prodigies, as we have identified as great, as we have identified as something that they were before their time. I'm going to give you 3 examples. Tiger Woods, Peyton Manning, Beyonce, and even Serena Williams. Michael Jackson. That's 5 of them right there. They have a common denominator. They had a person who did not negotiate with who they knew they could create. And they told them, man, you think every time that we see the great Peyton Manning and the things that he did, his father Archie, right, came from that. I know what it's going to take. So I'm going to push you to that. Even with King Richard, he didn't necessarily play tennis. He knew, hey, this is our opportunity to get out. I'm going to push you to that. It's going to come with a lot of feedback. But once you commit to what my vision is, I promise you, we're going to do that. Michael Jackson, you can say whatever you want to say, his tactics as a parent and this, that, and third. He's the greatest person that we've ever seen grace a microphone. Beyonce, the same thing. You can say what they may not be great parents on your merit, but they're successful parents because they had a vision. So even with Tiger Woods, the same thing. When you have a parent who's extremely intentional on what they want and they desire, I heard you say you always like to create vision boards or goals for yourself, for your children, or anybody that you see, right? These things for my son, I told you early in this podcast, I said, I've seen it in Travis Hunter. I'm going to create another Travis Hunter in my son. Both sides. And me knowing personally Travis, I seen him at 16. I seen this kid and he was exceptional then with no resources, remotely close to what he is, what we know him to be. So I'm saying, if my son has the resources that I could provide for him, we could be better.
No question.
And we're gonna do it on a realm that's our tempo, not while he's at 8. He ain't scoring 8 and 5 touchdowns a game. No, that's not his pace. My pace is when he gets 16, he then needs to be peaking. And now becoming that person, man, Pop, man, I see what What you had us doing at 8 and 9 and 13. Ooh, these folks like, it's easy. Of course it's easy, son.
He already said,
as in the
he
words.
already said it's easy.
Because
It's easy. People think it's hard,
because
Cam.
in the word, because in your words, Mr. Brown, you say we don't train to be good.
No.
We train to
dominate. You're trying to be good. We ain't trying to have fun. Fun is whooping your ass. That ain't no fun in that. I don't know about that fun stuff. I just know we're trying to destroy you and take care of you. I always tell people the same story. If you look at a circus, there's always a guy in a circus who has a woman standing against a wall, and he throw knives and he outline her body with the knives. My question to people is, do you think that guy who can throw those knives was born to throw those knives? Or do you think he practiced a hell of a lot with an outline of his wife in chalk and threw thousands, hundreds of thousands of knives before he told his wife, okay, honey, stand against the wall, I think I'm ready? Look, my point is, he wasn't predestined to be that type of a guy. It was just practice. And we can all learn to throw those knives if we practice as much as he's willing to practice. So if you're willing to put the work in as much as he did, your kid can become that. It's not that difficult. I mean, you can't have a guy that's 5'5" and say, okay, he's going to be a defensive lineman or something silly like that. But he has to project in his sport. If you project him in his sport, he can do this, he can do it, she can do that. Why? Believe in your kids. It's you guys. You guys have instant coffee, instant tea, and instant disbelief. Today, you don't believe in your kids. That's the problem. It's the parents. It's not the kids. That's what I'm thinking. All right, Cam, look, man, I know you got a lot of stuff to do, my brother, and I appreciate you coming on with us. And seriously, if you ever come to California, man, anywhere near this joker, let me know. I'd love to meet your kids, man.
Man, absolutely, man. Appreciate you. They got an uncle and a resource. And Mr.
Man, I'd love to see him. Take him to the work. Put him through a workout in the gym with me.
Man, and I'm gonna be right alongside.
Love it. All right, well, thank you very much, and let's stay in contact. All right, everybody, thank you.
Thank y'all.
Yes, sir. If you're a parent, a mom, a dad, has a child, male or female, a bigger, stronger kid would beat a weaker kid. Big bank take little bank. So this protein I had developed for my kids to help them as they went through life and got bigger and stronger. You may look at your child and say, man, if he had 10, 15 pounds more, he'd be the best. Then you need to go to our caneprotein.com and order some protein, because that's what it's all about. Can't be a skinny mini trying to play sports.